everybody, and welcome to day 258 of Rhys' Stories. And firstly, I would like to say well done to all the Limerick panel team for winning their match today against Galway in the All-Ireland semi-final, and now they're into the All-Ireland final against Waterford. So well done to all the Limerick team and their manager, who puts all the hard work into the Limerick team to get them all the way to the All-Ireland final against Waterford. So today I'm going to be reading you Moany McMoan-The School Tour, written and illustrated by Flannery. And today I'm going to be reading you Chapter 8 and Chapter 9. I think myself and Alexander are going to get on well. It would be very handy to have my very own personal Ninja Turtle type bodyguard beside me. It also means that my lunch is going to be safe for the next while. Of course, Wingy was whinging about the fact that he hadn't been asked to look after Alexander, as if there was ever any doubt as to who the superstar of Ban School is. Wingy will still get to hang around with us, though. I would never let my friend down. After all, I have known Wingy forever. My dad always says it's important to have good friends. I think that I know the real reason that Wingy was whinging so much is that he was hoping that Alexander might show him a few moves so that he can get to keep his lunch out of the hands of Pete Roberts. I really hope it will get me out of doing some homework too. I can say I was too busy helping Alexander to practice his English to have time to do silly homework. You know how much I hate doing homework. I bet most of you are the same. Why do we even have to do homework in the first place? My brain hurts enough after a hard day in school, and then we have to sit down at home and more school stuff again. Seriously, my dad's been going around the house mumbling to himself a lot recently. All I ever hear him say is stuff like, I have had it up to here with that teenager, and in a minute, it's always in a minute. Dad just keeps shaking his head and talking away to himself. The funny thing is he actually answer some of the questions that he is asking himself in the first place. As I told you before, nuts. I think most of our parents are the same. Now, even though I am a top crime fighter, I don't think you would need to be a top detective to work out that he is talking about Mark. Every time Dad or Mom asks Mark to go to the shop or get the table ready for dinner, all you will hear from Mark is, in a minute, like me a lot. The problem is that 5 minutes later, they have to tell him again. And what do you think he tells them? Yep, you guessed it, in a minute. It actually gave me a great idea, though. A lot like me. Mr. O'Rourke asked us to bring in a plain t-shirt for arts and crafts that we could put a design on with special paint he had. I watched Man bring in the washing, and when he wasn't looking, I took Mark's new white t-shirt so that I could design one for him. After all, he is my favourite brother. Then again, he is my only brother. I couldn't wait for arts and crafts time, which was after little break. I didn't even care about getting a t-shirt done for myself. Once Mr. O'Rourke had shown us what to do, I started doing Mark's t-shirt. I drew a little stick man who had a huge speech bubble coming out of his mouth. In the speech bubble, I wrote 2 words, Ina, Mina. Mr. O'Rourke asked me what it meant. I told him I was thinking of a name for a new band. He thought about it for a minute. Then he did that things parents do. You know, when they start rubbing their chin, trying to pretend they understand us. Brilliant, Mikey, he said. You obviously put a lot of thought into choosing a name. I never realised you were so artful as being sporty. I reckon you are a jack of all trades, said Mr. O'Rourke. All I could do was nod my head and smile at him. I do not have a clue what he is talking about, or even who this Jack person is. What do you think of it? I reckon Mark will go bonkers when he sees it, but Dad and Mum will get some laugh from it. I just have to make sure there is no obstacle between me and the front door when he sees it, so that I can make a quick escape. Luckily, I am way too fast for him. Chapter 9. I called in to see Mrs. Small on the way home from school. I hadn't been over to her house in a few days, and I knew she would want to see her favourite little helper. Also, I called because I remembered she made buns on Monday. She always put strawberry flavoured icing on them, and those little sprinkles on top of the icing, they are delicious. I could easily eat 4 or 5 of them all by myself. Mrs. Small always calls the sprinkles hundreds and thousands. Now, I know there are loads of them in that little tub, but I don't think she has counted them all. I definitely don't think there's that many in it. I wonder, does anybody know the answer? Maybe I will open the tub in Mam's kitchen press and pour them out on the counter to count them. Imagine if you were doing that and you lost count. Stress. On second thoughts, maybe I won't bother. As I was leaving the house, Mrs. Small gave me something wrapped in tinfoil. That's for your break tomorrow. Enjoy! Remember, only a few weeks left in school before you get your summer holidays, she said. I hope you haven't forgotten your little summer job. Don't you worry, Mrs. Small, I said. It's all sorted. I wrote it down on my calendar. You can rely on me. When I got home, I told Mum that I had called into Mrs. Small on the way home. She just patted me on the head and said goodbye. I think it was Puddles she was talking to. Do your parents do that thing when you are talking to them, when they keep saying things like, okay, that's nice, and yes, every so often, and you know that they have not listened to one thing that you have actually said? I definitely like my mammy and daddy. I used to think it was just my house, but I reckon all parents do it. Must be one of those things that happen to oldies. I have decided that I'm not going to be an oldie ever. I decided not to tell her about my little tinfoil package. I just hope Mum puts a treat into my lunchbox in the morning too. I really love treats. I don't get them every day though. Mum always is saying that too. Much sugar is bad for your teeth, and that sugar makes a person hyper. And then she says that sugar can give you energy. Talk about confusing. I reckon parents go to special parent classes that teach them how to confuse children. My parents must have been star pupils in that class. The end. I hope you enjoyed them lovely 2 chapters called Chapter 8 and Chapter 9. And tomorrow I'm going to be reading you Chapter 10, Chapter 11 and Chapter 12 maybe. So enjoy the rest of your wonderful weekend or evening. And come on, Limerick. So, hope you buy it. And I guess I'll see you all tomorrow for day 259 of Rhys's stories. So goodbye, everybody.